Hello, I'm Miss LIsten Ruiz. I'm going to talk about how to listen today. How to listen. I'm going to try to give an explanation so our younger students can understand. So I know it's going to sound a little weird, but I just keep in mind that our goal is for all of our students to understand the video on the skill we will talk about. Um, but I want the little ones to really understand. So today we're going to talk about how to listen, and this skill is a little hard to teach. There's not like a manual out there to teach how to listen. But the more we practice, the better we will get. Just like in reading, the more we practice, the better we will get. So that's why it's very important to read every day for at least 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, and read it at least 2 or 3 times in order to comprehend what we are reading. And whenever we practice our comprehension skills with reading, it helps us with our skill on how to listen. It's harder to listen to a story or when we're watching TV or a movie because they tend to speak pretty fast. It's a normal conversation and you cannot pause it sometimes if you're like in the theater or something. You cannot pause what you're listening to and re-listen to it again. So just like I said, the more you practice, the better you will get in our listening. And this is important with our Lost Links listening section. One key skill is to listen to the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. When we listen to these 5 W's, it's um, it's it gets a little easier to answer the questions. Um, Whenever you can, go to the back of your section and try to read the question first, and then read the question choices. And that way, when you're reading, you're able to maybe eliminate, cross it out, and then see, okay, this doesn't go with it. This has nothing to do with what I'm reading. This wasn't even on my question. So you are able to eliminate and focus your time on what's important. Another reminder is, do not get ahead of yourself. Do not think ahead of yourself. Sometimes we tend to change words and substitute it for something that we think it is. And that's when sometimes we mess ourselves up, when we substitute words or change words and we change our comprehension. So an example here I have is this little book. It's The Bear Ate Your Sandwich. It's a fun book. And in this page here, I'm going to read this page, and then here we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can using the 5 W's. So listen to this little sentence, okay? This page. The morning air was warm and bright when the bear stepped out of his den. He stretched and sniffed. So I'll read that again. The morning air was warm and bright when the bear stepped out of his den. He stretched and sniffed. So, who is this page talking about? This couple sentences. Who is this page talking about? It's talking about the bear. It talked about here when the bear stepped out. So who is it? The bear. Okay, what? What is he doing? Well, he stepped out of his den. That's the what. Where? Where was this? Well, let's see. We know it doesn't say specifically he came out of a cave, but specifically where? If he was in his den. And this den, we're not exactly sure where it is, but looking at the picture here, it's in the forest somewhere. So remember, a den is like a little hole, a little tiny cave somewhere in a hill. So he came out of his den. When? Was this in the morning, at night, in the evening? Well, it tells us right here. The morning air. It didn't say specifically the bear came out in the morning. It didn't specifically say that. But in the sentence, it referenced the morning. The morning air was warm and bright when the bear stepped out of his den. So when was this? When did this story take place? In the morning. Why? why did he do this? Why did he come out? Well, maybe he was hungry. Maybe his hibernation was over and he was hungry. He stretched and he sniffed. So what do you think he's doing when he's sniffing? And he came out of a den. You remember about bears? They like to hibernate and sleep for a long period of time during the winter. Well, it's probably over now, and now he's starving and he's hungry. So why did he come out of his den? Because he was hungry. Hibernation was probably over. So again, you might not understand when you read it one time, but when you read it 2 or 3 times, you might can get one W when you read it once. When you read it again, you'll answer another W, and if you read it more times, you'll be able to answer more W's. Um, and of course, this is a very simple example, but as you get older and you have chapter books, it's a lot harder. I know it's time consuming to read a chapter book 2 or 3 times or 4 times, or when you're taking an ACT, it's hard to read it many times because the time is limited. But try to look for those keywords, the 5 W's, to be able to answer your question. But I hope this helps. Again, whenever you're practicing your listening, listen to your 5 W's. And very important, do not get ahead of yourself. So I hope this helps. You guys take care.